relaxing here at Song Mentor. Today's relaxed selection is actually a request from a Song Mentor subscriber, but he didn't have to twist my arm too hard. I was a lover of Grand Funk Railroad back in the late 60s, early 70s, and when the album Closer to Home came out, I was a big fan of that as well. The song I'm Your Captain, Closer to Home, written by Mark Farner with his great tenor voice, harmonies by Don Brewer, great drum beat, and of course Mel Shacker, who kind of revolutionized bass playing in that day. This song is most commonly assumed to be about ending the Vietnam War. The captain, referring to perhaps Richard Nixon at the time, returned me from my ship, and certainly the lyrics, although Farner doesn't necessarily admit to this, support the theory that it is a song about ending an unpopular war. We're going to give you an acoustic version today from the Unplugged LP Red, White, and Blue Forever. Mark Farner did this song just on his own with a backup vocalist, and so that's what you're going to get today. A nice follow along, easy to play acoustic version. Here we go. I'm Your Captain, Closer to Home. Okay, well, let's begin as we often do with the chords you're going to need for I'm Your Captain, Closer to Home. And first of all, you're going to need an open D chord. You're also going to lift off that second finger on that open D chord and get a D sus2. And then put that finger back on and just take your third finger and flatten it down to cover the G note on the first string. And we get a D sus4. So those three D chords, the open D, the D sus2, and the D sus4. We're going to also need two versions of this chord called a C add 9. Now normally we'd play a C chord like this. I want you to play these two notes of the C chord. That is the E note there and the C note there with your first and second fingers. Then I want you to take your third finger and play the D note on the B string, third fret, second fret, or third fret, second string, pardon me. And that's one C add 9 that we're going to play. We're also going to play this version of it where we flatten out that third finger so that we also cover the third fret of the first string. So both those versions, this one and this one, of C add 9. Okay, we also need a D minor chord. We need a B flat bar chord. Now you don't have to play a bar chord here. You could do this, but I just grab it because it's easier for me to just grab a bar chord and play the full thing rather than try to mess around with 4 fingers. This is a 2-finger chord, a bar, and then I use my pinky to bar it there, the A chord formation. So a B flat bar chord, or a B flat chord, like this. An F major chord, you could play an F bar chord there too, if you wish. You don't really need that low F note, so you could just play it like that. And then finally an open A chord. And throughout the song we are going to play a little bit, as you can imagine, with the D chord formation. We're going to play with both the D chord and the C add 9 a little bit. We're even going to play with the E minor. And drop a note from the D minor chord later on. But those are the essential chords you need. Again, to go over them quickly, open D, D sus2, D sus4, this C add 9, and this C add 9, a D minor, a B flat bar chord, an F major chord, and an open A. And those are the chords you need for I'm Your Captain, Closer to Home. All right, let's talk about the intro to I'm Your Captain, and it's a very cool 2-string intro. And we start by picking down on 4 and 3, which is an octave actually. It's an open D string, and then the 7th fret of the 3rd string, which is also a D note. So I'm picking there. So I'm picking open 7, open 5, slide down to 4. Third finger, first finger. And note that I'm palm muting this somewhat here at the bridge, just resting my palm there to mute the strings a bit so that it's not, it's just palm muting it ever so slightly. So now we add a slide down to the 2nd fret with that first finger, so it's, notice where I'm picking. Pick, now it's, I can get 2 picks in there, the 2 open strings, and then I hammer up to the A note on the 3rd string, and then I can pick this one, which is the 4th fret, and then hammer up to there, slide up to there, and back down. So open, open, hammer, pick on the 4th, slide up to 5 and back down. So the 2 picks are on the open and on the 4th. So putting that whole sequence together. Very slowly. Second time through, it's just a little bit different. So the last part of it is same. The beginning's the same. Open, open, 2nd fret, up to 5, back down to 2. So putting the 2 parts of the intro together. You want to practice that several times, and that is played through twice, and it takes us down to this position here where we're in perfect shape to start the strumming. Well, in our unplugged acoustic version, Mark Farner bypasses the use of the wah-wah pedal, and, as was used in the electric album version originally, and he strums something like this. Which is very, very cool. And I'm going to show you this nice and slow, but essentially we're going from an open D chord to that C add 9 chord, the one with the G note added, this version of it. So that 3rd finger is flattened across both the 2nd and 1st strings at the 3rd fret. So we go from, and that's the chord transition you have to practice. And he adds this little, which is just taking those 2 fingers and kind of hammering them on, taking them off again, that form the C part of the C add 9. So let's take a nice close look at the strumming hand here. slowly. And remember that we're going from a D sus2. Now I mentioned earlier in the chord section that we needed a D sus4, but we really don't need a D sus4 because the C add 9, this version of it, kind of takes the place of the D sus4. So I was a bit in error there when I said, you know, if you were playing it like this, that'd be D sus2, D sus4. But here what we're doing is, okay, so remember that that D sus2 is in there. So let's do a playthrough of a verse with vocals and some strumming. A 1, 2.
Everybody, listen to me and return me my ship. I'm your captain, though I'm feeling mighty sick.
All right, let's talk about that very cool transition that goes into the Am I in My Cabin Dreaming section of the song, the bridge section if you like. And coming out of the third verse, because what I just played there, the first verse, second and third verse are the identical pattern. So we're coming out of the third verse and it's
To the point of my burn. Am I in my cabin dreaming?
okay, that's how it transitions. So coming out of that, we play through that a few times. 4 times. Two strokes on the D, 2 more, and then we're into the D minor. So now here's the chord progression for the cabin dreaming section.
Am I in my cabin dreaming?
We're going from D minor here to B flat. And then to the F major. And here's where he does a kind of a thumpy little rhythm pattern like. Remember I said he plays around with the D minor second time through instead of just. He plays. And all I'm doing there is lifting that pointer finger off the F note of the D minor chord and back on. And into that. Back into the next verse. Okay, so again, just quickly, that sequence is D minor and B flat times 3, and then into the F major. Let's do a play through the bridge.
Am I in my cabin dreaming? Or are you really scheming to take my ship away from me? You'd better think about it. I just can't live without it. So please don't take my ship from me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, so nice to have a buddy sing along with you. In this case, I'm my own buddy. But going into the next verse, he sings the next verse on his own. I can feel the hand of a stranger, that verse. And then when he gets into the final verse, it's I'm your captain. That's all done with harmonies. And when they finish, we now get into the transition to Closer to Home. And so what he does is... and return me my ship. I'm your captain. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm your captain. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Your captain, yeah, 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 yeah.
4 times, and then he just stops it like this, just like he did going into the bridge. He kind of stops it. And he just plays around with the D chord, and this time he plays the C add 9 without the high G. So it's just this one, which is more of a jazzy chord. It's very nice. And he picks through it. Like that. And he just plays through that twice, so that's... sort of idea. And then we get into
I'm getting closer to my home.
and it's very, very, now we've taken it right back. We're not strumming frantically anymore. It's the tempo's slowed down, and it's just... So let's do a playthrough of that with vocals. 1, 2.
I'm your captain, yeah, 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 yeah. 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 To my home, I'm getting closer to my home. I'm getting closer to my
fine tuning for I'm Your Captain. Well, you have pretty much everything you need for this song. The only thing I didn't show you was that little section. I didn't show it to you because he only does it twice in the acoustic version, and it's just where the tempo picks up again and he plays those little riffs, something like this. That sort of thing. And that comes in a couple times in the song. And it's just playing around with a D chord here and working on the 2nd and 4th frets with those notes, and then switching again to the C add 9. Like that sort of thing going on there. But other than that, you have everything you need for this wonderful song. Interpretations are up to you. Mark Farner always said it's a beauty, and art in this case is in the eye of the beholder. Vietnam War song, maybe just a lovely ballad about a captain and his ship. Grand Funk Railroad, I'm Your Captain, closer to home. We'll see you next time on Song Mentor.